craziness. I value it. It's something that as a normal person I always wanted to have. So,
Hi, host Eric here. Welcome to Talking with Fans People. I am
mhm.
here. By what name would you like to be called? Michael or by your other name?
Michael.
Michael? Okay, cool.
Michael.
Famous
Yeah.
person Michael's here with me, and he is a YouTube channel creator himself. And I was
Yes.
at his channel the other day, and I was listening to his music, and
Yeah.
it's quite impressive because it's
Yeah.
not easy to do that and have me like it.
Freestyle.
Very difficult to have me like that. Like that kind of thing,
Thank you.
right? The kind of thing that I do some of that kind of thing too, but probably because it's near my niche, it's really difficult
Right.
to have me like it. So you got to be really
Uh-huh.
doing it just fucking right. You have to be making like no mistakes in those things, right? Or else,
Exactly.
or else it's gonna
Exactly.
bug the shit out of me. But it didn't. It was like at first I turned it on, I was like, oh, I'm probably gonna hate this, huh? I don't hear any
What
mistakes.
what
What?
what did it make what did it make you feel inside? Like what kind of emotions, what kind of logic went on when listening to it?
Uh, I'd say I was listening critically. I was listening aesthetically. I was listening for the
That's,
aesthetic choices you were making and
yeah.
how they resonated with my own intuitive sense of what they ought to be.
Awesome. Sweet. I'm a ENFJ, by the way, out of all the
An
personalities.
ENFJ, huh?
Yeah. So like a natural one. But what happens is a lot of them they can't okay, well, they get treated bad in their nature with their parents. So they're unsure how to behave in public and people really like them for that. Because they could feel people out. And they judge the situation. That's how it becomes and starts going. Yeah, by birth mindset at ENFJ, but then I met a INTP friend because I was pretty popular at school. I was a rebel. I was suspended from 7 schools before for different kinds of things. I never really um, valued authority. I knew authority and I knew its power, but I never wanted to value it. So I was the badass guy.
Is morality concrete or abstract?
I'm very abstract,
No,
yeah.
I'm saying is morality. Is morality.
Yes, fully. It's
Is it
fully
concrete or
abstract.
abstract? It's fully abstract. Okay.
Yes, it's
Interesting.
totally abstract. Unless you see it as the person presents it to you, right? Like if a person's nice, then he is no way evil. Like if you look in that way.
So you mean if you're experiencing a positive interaction with
What?
somebody,
Yeah.
then do you think that you're experiencing a moral reality? Are all positive experiences necessarily products of moral choices?
Hmm. Yes, they certainly contribute to them, unless you don't value your own.
That's not what I asked you. I didn't ask if they contributed to them, right?
Yeah.
The thing
Are
is,
they part of it? Yeah.
I mean, yeah, well, no, not are they part of it. I'm saying, is it possible to have, there are some actions that are not moral choices, right? They're
Mhm.
non-moral. Not that they're
Yeah.
immoral, they're just not moral. Like, what kind of ice cream I'm going to get? If that gives you
Yeah.
pleasure, is there a moral component to that?
Yes, there is a moral component.
What
For
is it?
example, if you're getting pleasure from a woman, you got to give back to the woman, or
That
else
wasn't my
you're
example, though. My example was ice cream.
okay. Ice cream. Is there a pleasure from eating ice cream? Yes, there is. Depending how you see it, right?
But is
You're
there a
eating ice
moral
cream.
component? The question was, is there a moral component to the pleasure you get from eating ice cream?
Uh, yes, there is. It's hidden. You gotta really not take things for granted to see it, to see the moral component in eating ice cream. Because if you're eating ice cream and other people look at you, they see that you're more wealthier than them in that sense of time. So, like, like they see that you're capable of getting something they aren't. So that's morality.
But, okay, but wait. I mean, then is there anything that's not morality?
No, everything is humility, humbleness. Everything is interconnected with some kind of uh, procedural process that people take for
But there
granted.
has to be something that's not morality, or else the word doesn't mean anything.
Uh, well, maybe when you're by yourself alone and nobody is watching you and your own perspective is dictating what you do. That's the only way that it might be not influencing morality.
Huh. Well, if you're an ENFJ, then that means you're leading with FE, right?
Yes, yes. A lot of all my friends told me I'm actually a public speaker in Google Hangouts. I show my shyness sometimes to people, but if I cover it up, I'm perfect. I could deceive like ENFJs.
What
They
sort
kind
of
of deceive people, but
what sort
they
of
do it
what?
in a good way. Huh?
Sorry, this is my bad. It's totally on me. Uh, why? Um, now I lost my train of thought too.
Why do you think
Hold on, it's coming right back to me.
yeah, no.
What do you want to talk about when you say you're a public speaker? What's your topic of your public speaking?
Anger against political oppression, morals of life, psychology in general, and really understanding people. From birth, I was an avoidant child, so I was the one sitting on the curve, and I was watching everybody, and I really understand people like really well. Like in school, like I told you, people were trying to like trap me. I knew it right away. I was like, everybody always told me I'm like a genius, and I just thought of it that way.
Well, if you understand people really well, do you also think you understand politics really well?
Politics, yeah, yeah, I do understand them, but I believe that, see, what I'm doing, I'm talking right now to Mark Zuckerberg and Rockefeller, and I'm sending him subliminal messages that will, like, sort of give him a good kind of mind control, so he will change and be a better person. So
Is
I'm
she a
trying to
bad
instill
person?
enough into the psychotic. What?
Is he not a good person right
I
now?
I don't think he's a good person based on his photos of what gets put out into the media. How he's trying. I bet he's in a connection with the Federal Reserve Agency. When I grow up, I want to make a deal with the Federal Reserve Agency because I know what they do and how good they are and everything. And I wanted to contribute and change the political system and economy.
So what do you want to do to the Federal Reserve?
Is it with the Federal Reserve? I want to give them a better understanding of what it is to give people the truth. What kind of changes will be made in the
So
world?
where does wealth come from?
Wealth comes from work,
Okay.
from providing service to other people,
So for
and
the,
that's
would you be would you be okay with the definition of the application of labor to a resource?
labor to a resource.
The application of labor to
Yes,
a resource, creating wealth. Okay.
yes, yes. I've thought about it all. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, see, if we can make a perfect system, we just got to get close to it. I believe in that. Like Marxist views, you know what the Marxists say? They say, if we rebel and not work in factories, then nobody will be able to exploit us, and then the higher powers will fall. And that's an example.
Who do you think is getting exploited?
Who's going to exploit it?
Who
Oh,
do you think is
people
getting
exploit.
exploited?
Who do you think? Immigrants, lower class individuals, people
By
who.
whom?
Hmm?
By whom?
What?
By
By
whom?
whom? By whom? By because I like browse the deep web a lot and stuff. So I read about different kinds of theories. There is this idea that aliens are actually controlling our world and they're controlling people up at the top, at the ladder, like Illuminati. So there is the
If you
top
were to
down.
attempt to, if you wanted to say to yourself, I'm going to try to falsify this belief that I'm considering, just as a test, a matter of a test, how would you go
Okay.
about falsifying this? What would it look like if that belief that you're about to voice were true versus what it would look like if it were false?
If it was true, if my own theory was false or true, if wait, I'm
Well,
not
I'm saying,
understanding.
look, if you're going to present a theory that is sort of, let's say, outside what people would normally consider well substantiated. Now you might be ready to claim, and I'm not going to dispute you have the right to claim, and I would certainly think you'd have the expectation to be listened to and taken seriously. You might then claim that it is substantiated, right? But what I'm
Yeah.
saying is it is an extraordinary claim, which is to say that it is not normally considered to be substantiated, such that it
Yes.
would normally be considered to require an extra amount of substantiation than to be considered wholly legitimate in the status quo.
I get what you mean by that. Yeah, yeah. Um, to that, I would say that is eugenics creating any better world for us? You know how they
Who's eugenicsing whom?
who's eugenics? Like the leaders, they're trying to push this idea that everybody should give them money for eugenics, right? You read Thomas Hobbes, right?
Yeah,
No,
sure. Well, I mean, I know his stuff. I don't
yeah,
really
yeah.
read it, but yeah, I know it well
I
enough. I skim it.
understand that on as a ENFJ, I took the mentality of a INTJ as well, a ISTP, and INTP. All three, like a little bit of each. And then I came up with this idea that, well, my base mentality is the thinking of Thomas Hobbes, how he sees the world. I've read his book. That's exactly how I see the world. So, like, I also, nature's law.
Okay.
Whatever anyone does, it will occur to them. So it doesn't matter who's rich, who's nice. But about your theory, it has something to do with the frontal lobal cortex. That people with a small frontal lobal cortex aren't able to think and share information with other people or resources of value. So,
Wait.
well,
What's my theory?
your theory about this trying to prove if it's aesthetic for moral
I
purpose.
didn't say anything. I asked. I said if it were to, if you were to attempt
Yeah,
to do that. I didn't even say you should attempt to do that. I said if you
if I
were to
were
attempt to
to.
do that, what would it
Yeah,
look
if
like?
I
I asked you
were.
a question.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. How would it look like? Sorry, I have 156 ways to think and organize my information in my mind. That's what brings me to us, unaware insanity kind of form. What would I think about it? I would say, what would I say? What would I say? Well, how would I change it? That's your answer, right?
No,
Well, if
my
people
question is
understood,
if you were to say to yourself, I want to decide, I want to test my own belief, and I want to see if it's true or false. What would that
yes,
test look like?
that test would look like I would free, first of all, I would free everybody from the constraints. I would bring out the truth to 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 show who's getting exploited, who's not getting exploited, and create this understanding that everybody has a fair life,
But
like a fair perspective.
that's not a test of your belief. That's a execution of your belief,
Yes,
and
that's
an
my
acting of your belief, right?
right, right. I execute my belief and then I see what happens. I had always adapt to the environment. I don't proactively think anything. That's how revolution kind of works, and then comes evolution right after
So if
this.
I
Like,
give you a box and it had an X on top of it and a skull and crossbones, and inside it said, "Don't push this button," or it said, let's
yeah,
say it said, "This button could be dangerous." Let's say it said that this button could be dangerous. Would you push it? And then,
uh,
or would you push it and that would be the test, or would you want to test it first and then push it?
I would I would be 50-50 on it. I would analyze the environment. I would analyze the purpose of that box being in that certain environment, and then I would make out the idea of who might have placed that box and his authority of power, and then I would decide if I would push the button or not, and if it's a scam or maybe it's fake, maybe it's not
Sure,
gonna do
yeah. I
anything.
mean, but what if you don't know any of those things? What if you don't have
What?
sufficient information to make a determination?
No, never. Then no. I wouldn't push it because then I have nothing to associate the purpose to pushing the button at all. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, that makes sense. Um,
Uh-huh.
Do you have any questions for me?
Uh, yeah, why do you like to get information from famous people? For
Um,
for what enlightenment of reason? Are you a revolutionist yourself who wants to change the world, or more like business-like kind of perspective?
I would say I am mostly
Mm-hmm.
a curious perspective and a play perspective. I'm curious about a lot of things. I want to hear a lot of different people voice their own thinking. I
Mm-hmm.
want to voice my own opinion about certain things, and I want to engage in certain debate of ideas sometimes. But I also want to hear what other people's ways of thinking, how they're different from my own. And
Mm-hmm.
lastly, I want to have conversations for social payoffs, for FE reasons, because I have FE in
Okay.
the third slot. So I do get payoff for from extra feeling.
Okay. Oh, that's good. That's really great. So you said you could really identify people. Who would you classify me as so far? Just
Um,
ballpark.
I have not yet made a determination on it.
Okay.
You've given me cues in multiple areas. You've already indicated to me that you think you display a lot of different disparate types within yourself.
Yeah.
So,
Yes. Yes.
and
I feel
I've
that.
seen a lot of different kind of answers from you that would seem to correlate with different functions. So so far, I'm still trying to narrow down the field. I need to ask some more questions.
Okay. Okay. That's fair enough. And what did you do in your like childhood life? Like, how did you grow up to be like around what environment?
I
Maybe
had good
parental life.
parents who loved me very much. I grew up in a kind of a rough neighborhood, which is odd thing to say given that it was a very nice neighborhood, but a rough neighborhood in
Mm-hmm.
some ways for the way the kids treated each other. But
Mm-hmm.
overall, I got little to complain about. And
Mm-hmm.
the things that have caused me trouble in life have stemmed from my own nature, not from anything that ever happened to me.
Yeah, that's
My parents both being more reliable, more upstanding citizens than I by a considerable margin, though I try my best to maintain a moral center.
that's very good. That's powerful and noble. I would mention that in the position that I am right now, like how did I start my communication system? That is like really grand. I can't show it right now because I'm not sure of all the possible variations. I'm creating neurological structures for the mind to help people express their ideas better. And I had a friend. I want to tell you where I got the idea from as a ENFJ. So as a ENFJ, I was an avoidant child. I became popular out of nowhere, just to say. I felt always insecure about my popularity, but at the same time, I kind of put on an extroverted mask. That's where I decide, and I felt people really well just from birth. I could look into people's eyes. I would get a little bit tensed up because I would read so much information off them and I would want to always look away. I was always that kind of guy. And maybe an egoist, maybe not. I had this like, I don't care about anything personality type. And and I met my INTP friend for the first time, and he was this guy. He was the smartest kid in school, and he wanted to walk with me after school. We lived in the same direction, so I was walking with him, and I noticed that we're really similar in the sense of how we express ourselves. Only he had a bad childhood. He was abused by his parents for 15 years. He told me after he burns ants in his backyard, like just to paint a picture of who he is. And he's a true INTP, so he's very distant with other people. And we were sharing information, and I always had like masterminds in general come up to me. I had a very hardcore INTJ friend tell me about life, tell me his perspective. He told me that I should burn all books and never read them ever again. And like I went to his house, I always walked people home as well, like different kinds of personality types. And I
Now,
learned
did
from
you grow
everyone, and I
up?
was really
Did you grow up in the U.S. or
no, Canada.
Canada.
I'm Canadian. Canadian. Yeah, yeah. It was
Okay.
just a nice environment after school. A bunch of people would get together. I could tell you how a ENFJ is in a social perspective. Usually, you would act like you're cool, and then you would feel that you're cool inside, and then you kind of have this cool personality type that you constantly build as a automation for thinking, for beings, a being. And I was actually one of the most luckiest kids to be able to experience going to the White House, but the White House, not the American White House, but in Florida, I had like rich connections with my through my stepdad's friends, and my life was amazing. I felt absolute euphoria. Everything that I desired happened just like that.
Audience?
What? Sorry?
I said audience? I'm talking to the
Audience?
audience. Yeah, I'm talking to the
Yeah,
audience for a second.
yeah, yeah. Right. What about the? Yeah.
Interesting one here, huh? Well, I don't know what to make of you. I'm going to go with ENTP. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much I wouldn't even. I am hesitant to even dream of giving you that much fucking credit, dude. But maybe. Okay, that's all I have to say about that. I
Yeah.
have to go. This was, like we said, brief introduction. Thank you for being on Talk with Famous People. I'll have you back
Yeah.
again. Okay, and I
Right.
will you can have me on your show anytime you want. Just let me know. I'll do
Right. I
whatever.
just wanted to ask this. I wanted to tell this last point really quickly. It's not
Go
far.
ahead,
The
sure.
re the reason I'm explaining myself this way as a ENFJ, someone who is a professional and a social mastermind chameleon for speaking, is because I seen my NTP friend stutter when he was talking right beside me, and I felt really bad for him. And I decided to take on his entire life's perspective and to live his life and understand why he's the way he is. Thank you. That's
Okay,
all.
thanks, dude. Michael,
All right, man.
it's been a fascinating pleasure having you on. I'm gonna have to think a lot after I'm done with this conversation. Have a good evening.
Okay.
Talk to you later.
All right, man. See ya.
Bye.
How do I exit this? Okay.
I'll
Anyways.
get us out. I'll get us out right now. Right
Okay.
there.
What's your type? What's your type before you go? So the audience knows.
ENTP. ENTP.
Oh, ENTP.
Well, that was interesting. Hmm. Hmm. Maybe we do that kind of shit. We do. Especially at that age, we do that kind of shit. Are you thinking it? Did it even cross your mind? He's good. If it, we'll see. We'll see. We'll just have to see.